Hello, I'm here to talk about my third Raft painting. From previous two videos, which are available on YouTube, I started with this first one here and discussing how I needed to bring it along and develop it a bit more. And I thought in terms of perhaps adding something to it, making it something more of a diptych. I then went on to do this second one, which took on something of a life of its own, and it turned out that it didn't really work being joined with the other one, but it did suggest the possibility of a series. So I went on to do this third one, and I'll have at the end of this video a sequence of shots to show how this one developed. And now it's finished and they're all framed. Now this one, the third one, had presented some interesting issues and problems, and sort of talk about how things happen when you're doing a painting. Sometimes things are accidents or sort of fortuitous occurrences work out. So in this case, the spacing on this, the sort of narrow bands and the wider blue bands, presented something of a problem. I was having difficulty resolving the relationship between the narrow and the wide. And going back and forth, I was wiping over the oil paint that's on the blue paints here. And what developed was a sort of faint streak right down the middle, which actually I thought worked very well. And I went on to accentuate that effect a bit. The second thing that happened was trying to resolve this square in the middle. Now, this is painted with enamel. It's the kind of model enamels you use to paint a plastic model with, an airplane or a battleship or whatever people do. And the paints are formulated for a very specific effect or purpose. So you want to recreate camouflage or the particular color an airplane was painted or something along those lines. So while it's very useful, I find, just painting them directly out of the pots, you get pretty much the color you think you're going to get. But mixing them to make a different color is very problematic, and I think that's because they're formulated for that specific purpose and never quite sure how they've come up with the color. And as a result, trying to make another color out of them very often ends up with something very muddy, very difficult to get a clean color. So a lot of trial and error and back and forth. And this one, as you'll see, as evidence in the sequence of development stills, proved a lot of problems. I think now I've got it to the point where I'm quite happy with it, the way it's popping, but it was very difficult to get that red right. But I'm generally happy with it, and should I get the chance, I would be exhibiting these together. At the moment, they're very close together because of the necessity of doing this in the studio. If I was exhibiting them, they would be further apart, and I think would work well in relationship to each other as a series. And perhaps I'll go on and do a fourth or fifth one at some point. But anyway, at the moment, I'm happy with the three of them. And if you want to go and check out the previous videos I had about these, please do. Thank you.